Rashad with the show. Coleman Bell.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
All right, thanks for coming on. First question, man. Where were you born? Where you originally from?
So I'm born and raised in Tampa, Florida. Been here pretty much all my life except my years in Miami, and then I played a few years in the pros. So I bounced around, over the country. But for the most part, uh, through my 51 years, it's been here in Tampa, Florida.
Okay, growing up in Tampa, Florida, who were your role models? Who were your influential people that influenced you to do what you do?
Well, I mean, it started in the house. It was my mom. My mom raised me and my brother as a kind of single parent. She was a school teacher, and then she kind of climbed up the ranks to be a school administrator. So, I saw the sacrifices that she made to raise two boys and keep a roof over our head and food on the table. And we struggled, but she, did everything she could to make life, great for us. And then my brother was a great role model. He's about 8 years older than me, but he kind of taught me football, taught me how to catch, and so he was a great role model. So those two really were, my role models who I looked up to right in the house because we were all in the struggle together, and it turned out for the best.
Okay, other than football, were there any other sports that you played other than football? Was football your main sport that you played other than were there other sports other than football that you played?
Now, actually, basketball was my first love. So I wanted to, play basketball. I played both. I played football and basketball. I like basketball a little more than I like football. And I ended up breaking my school records in basketball. They retired my football and basketball jersey at my high school. But I figured in the long run, I was great in basketball for the Tampa area. But when you're facing people from around the state, people from around the nation, people internationally, I figured I had a better chance of making it in college and maybe succeeding in the pros or making it in the pros in football. So I decided to choose football instead of basketball. But basketball then and to this day is still my first love.
Okay, so other than Miami, were there other schools that was interested in going to, or were there other colleges that was reaching out to you for scholarship?
Yeah, I got recruited by a ton of schools. I took visits to Georgia Tech. I took a visit to Minnesota, Iowa, Tulane, and then I took some unofficial visits. And it really came down to Tulane. They had a really run and shoot offense, pass happy offense, and I'm a pass catching tight end in Miami. My mom really loved the recruiter at Tulane, and so she wanted me to go to Tulane. It's a great academic school. She really liked the recruiter. When I took a visit to Miami, I fell in love with Miami. I had people I knew from Tampa like Bernard Clark, Tiger, and Maurice Crum that was at Miami, and they were kind of my hosts. So I told my mom I would sleep on it, and then I decided on Miami, and it was a great choice.
Okay, so your first year was in 1988.
Yeah, 1988 was my first year recruiting class. I had just come off back surgery. I had back surgery my senior year in high school, so I was on the mend. I want to thank Jimmy Johnson because he recruited me, and when we called him up and told him I had a herniated disc and I need to have back surgery, they told me don't worry about it, just get better. And so '88 was my first year. I redshirted. Um, I was in no condition to play coming out back surgery, but yeah, '88 was my first year.
Okay, so I'm gonna fast forward to 1990 because I 88, 89. Was you on the field? I don't think you was on the field that much in 88, 89. So 90, that's when you like really started like get some time under Rob Szynski because you like the backup tight end.
Yeah, when I first came in, it was Chud and then Bear. I was, matter of fact, Bear, Randy Bethel we were roommates on the road. So I didn't get a lot of playing time, a little on special teams. I didn't really start playing till my junior year, which was 91 is really when I started to play and start in 92. So the last 2 years is when I really made my mark at UM.
Okay, so let's look at the '91 season. Obviously, that was an undefeated season. Go 12-0. We talk about the Arkansas game. That was an amazing game because June Terrell threw 99-yard touchdown pass to Horace Coleman. You win 31-3. Talk about your recollections of that matchup.
No, I think when we came out in '91, we knew we had some talent. Offensively, we were loaded with High C and Lamar and Darryl Spencer and myself and Gino, and then we had some great running backs like Steve McGuire. And High C could run, man. He can run like a deer. So whenever he got one-on-one, coverage, Gino would throw it up and High C would go get it. And then our defense was stellar. So yeah, we got off to a good start in '91 with Arkansas, and we kept rolling after that.
Yeah, the Houston game I want to get into because that was a lot of hype around David Klingler, hot running shoe offense 2 years earlier. Andre Ware won, the Heisman. Talk about getting ready for that matchup. That was on Thursday night on ESPN as you won 40-10.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of hype around Klingler. I think he was a Heisman Trophy candidate, and I think our defense took it personal, especially the defensive backs, to kind of shut him down. And then offensively, that was a long time ago, so I don't remember all the details. But offensively, I know we put up some great numbers and continued to roll. We had some great offensive weapons. So yeah, I think we rolled in that game, and the defense really pitched a shutout and shut Klingler down.
Okay, the next game I want to talk about is Penn State. That was a very close one, 26-20 to win that game. And that game, was the first matchup since the 1987 Fiesta Bowl. Uh, but Miami unfortunately lost the national championship game. Talk about the recollection of that matchup as you won 26-20.
Yeah, Penn State was always a tough team, and they were kind of that big bruising team. Was that at UM or was that at Penn State?
Was that at Miami at the Orange Bowl?
Okay. Yeah, I vaguely remember that because I think they had some good linebackers that we were facing, and it was a challenge to shut down those linebackers. But yeah, I vaguely remember that game. But I think we were, you know, up for the task, up for the challenge. We had to keep that kind of Orange Bowl streak going, and you know, kind of make sure we protect our home turf. So it was good. It's a close game, but it's good to come out with a great win.
And obviously, the number one versus number two matchup between Florida State and Miami. Talk about the getting ready for that game. Obviously, it's, your arch rival, but it was a lot at stake because number one versus number two, a lot on the line. National championship aspirations. Talk about preparation aspect going into that matchup.
Yeah, Florida State was always tough, man. Florida State, I believe, and I tell anybody who listens, I thought Florida State always had more talent than us. I mean, they were a talented group of people. And I just think we had the will to win, and we would do whatever we could to pull out a victory. So going into Florida State each year, we know it's going to be a knockdown, drag out fight. We know they're going to come and play their best. We know they have as much talent, if not more, than
No.
than we do. And I think '91 we were in Tallahassee, so we knew that was going to be a really tough matchup. So we were prepared. We were ready to play. We loved the stage. We loved going in hostile territories, going to the other people's stadium and getting the win. So I think it was right up our alley at the U. Is what we do. We go in and take over stadiums and win games. So leading up to it, it was all the hype. As Florida State Miami is always a big hyped up game, but I think we were really up for the challenge.
You said something interesting. You said that you felt that Florida State had more talent than Miami. Why would you say that?
I just
Elaborate
think
on
if
that.
Yeah, I just think if you look across, especially in the state of Florida during that time, Florida State got all the top recruits. All the number one or top five recruits in the state of Florida went to Florida State. We got a lot of out of state recruits from Texas. We got a lot of recruits, but if you really look on that roster, a lot of the top supposed to be number one, number two, number three recruits in the state of Florida went to Florida State. So I think I feel they had more talent than us. We just had more heart, and we knew how to win against them. Matter of fact, I won't jump ahead, but I remember uh, one of those games. It was 91 and 92, and Dan Footman was a big D line for Florida State, and he from Tampa. And I talked to him after the game, and he said something really prophetic. He said, "Man, we just can't beat y'all," you know. And so I think that was in Florida State here. We knew how to finish, and we knew how to come out with a victory. And I think when it came down to it, they knew that we would find a way to win, and that we were in the head, and that we pull out the victory.
Yeah, and that game obviously is a defensive battle, defensive struggle, and you made that great catch on that last drive. It's like the 6 minutes and some seconds, and Junior had got sacked the play before, and he threw it up to you. Talk about that catch. I think McCorvey was guarding you, and you made a big time catch. Talk about that catch on that final drive.
Yeah, we were struggling the whole game. We couldn't put an offensive drive together. Defense was playing a great game, and they was keeping us in the game, and we just couldn't put it together. We'll get a couple first, and then we'll punt, and we just couldn't sustain drives. And Steve McGuire had a heck of a game, man. Steve was running that ball, and he was toting, but we just couldn't finish drives. We couldn't muster up enough points. So I give Florida State credit. What they did is they realized we run a tight end delay. So what I would do is I would block, 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 and then I would leak out to the side. Well, they had done some great film study, and instead of the corner like blitzing or taking his eyes and going somewhere when he saw me blocking, he stayed there and he didn't move. He kept his eyes on me. And so I just made eye contact with Gino, and I just told him, gave him that nod that I'm just gonna go up the field. And thank goodness Gino trusted me. And when I was going up the field, he just threw it up, and I said, that's what Miami Hurricanes do, man. We make plays. Big time players make big time plays, and I knew we were struggling offensively. I knew we had to make a play, and so I went up and snatched it, and that play really propelled us because a couple plays later, High C, caught that fourth down on the goal line, and then I think it was Larry LJ uh, ran it into the end zone, and that put us up, and then the rest is history. The first to the wide right, so it was just it was a great play by Florida State corner, not biting on me blocking and remaining home. And then it was just a trust factor between me and Gino where he threw it up and he knew I would make a play. And so he threw it up. I knew I had to go get it. I went and got it and made a play. And I think it was a gain of, I think it was 20 some yards. And I think it's what we needed to kind of get us going. We have been struggling 3 and out or get a first and punt. So it was kind of that spark that we needed to get going. And I think I ended up getting a game ball for that catch from Coach Erickson because I think that was the spark we needed in order to get propelled for victory. So that's one of the good highlights of my career is making that play. It was a big time play, and Gino just trusted me, and I went up and made it.
Yeah, that was on a 58-yard touchdown drive. That catch that you made was 21 yards, and the catch that Horace Coleman made was from 9 yards on fourth down and 6. Yeah, Larry Jones, the fullback, scored on the touchdown. And again, then Florida State gets the ball back. They go 63 yards, and then talk about the miss wide right, man. Because again, the thing about that game is that it was such a defensive battle, great defense. Then it came down to a kick. Jerry Thomas, your reaction when he missed that field goal from 34 yards with 25 seconds left. Talk about that.
Oh no, we were static, man. I mean, football's a game of inches, and that could have really turned our season around. If he makes that field goal, we lose. Florida State goes on and goes undefeated. We might not get that national championship in '91. So we were all on pins and needles, during the kick, and luckily for us, it went right. And we were ecstatic. I mean, if you look at the video of after he missed it, I mean, we charged the field. Everybody's jumping up and down, high five and celebrating. So we were nervous, but we were happy that the wind kind of pushed it to the right, and it helped, keep us undefeated and get us going in the right direction of claiming a national championship.
Now, what's interesting on your schedule that year, you played against Boston College at Boston College as it was the seventh anniversary of Doug Flutie doing that Mary pass to Gerald Phelan. You win 1914, but that was a very tough game. Unfortunately, Steve McGuire hurt his knee, but you win a close one. 1914. Talk about getting a win in a tough environment in Boston College. In that situation. Talk about that.
Yeah, that was a hostile environment, man. I remember that where we had to keep our helmet on. I think they were throwing stuff at us. It was a raucous crowd. I think they were really excited that the Hurricanes were in town. And we probably didn't take the game as serious as we should have. So we thought we could just walk in there and win. So it was a really tough game. Yeah, we lost Steve. I think they intentionally went after Steve knee. I mean, if you look at the film, I think they intentionally tried to hurt him. And so we lost Steve. And I don't think we were 100% focused, ready to play, but it was a tough environment. And they were hyped and ready to play. And Boston College was always a tough team to play. But that's what happens, man, when on the way to a national championship or you're in the pros, you're on the way to Super Bowl, you're going to have tough games and tight games that you got to eke out. And that's going to, keep propelling you to your ultimate goal to winning that championship. So that's the thing about us when we were there is we knew we would find a way to win. And yeah, it was a tough game, but we found a way to pull it out to keep our undefeated season going. But yeah, make no mistake, Boston College was a tough environment, tough place to play. The fans were really uh, loud that day, and they were shouting things you probably can't repeat. I think they were throwing things at us, so it was a tough environment to play. But I'm proud of the way we stuck it out and ended up finishing and getting the win.
Okay, so yeah, in that game, you had scored a touchdown from 2 yards out, 2 yard catch in that game. So you was able to eke out that win 19 to 14. Now, obviously, beat San Diego State 39-12 in that game. And but I want to move forward to the national championship that you won. We have beat Nebraska 22-0. Talk about getting that win. Uh, Obviously, you had to be confident. Obviously, coming playing your own stadium at the Orange Bowl. But talk about that win as you win 22-0 against Nebraska, a program that wasn't used to being shut out. But they were shut out 22-0. Talk about that game.
Yeah, I think first of all, playing in the Orange Bowl, playing at home was a great advantage for us. We were comfortable in the OB and the Orange Bowl, and I think too we had a decided advantage when we play those teams from you know Nebraska. I think speed wise, we're just on another level, and I think those guys are big and strong and bulky, but they don't have the speed we have. And so I think we had a mismatch in that game, and we exploited it. I know K Dub had a couple touchdowns, and we were able to just uh, dictate one-on-one matchups and really take advantage of our speed against them. And our defense played unbelievable. I mean, they played shutout defense and really stopped that Nebraska offense. So, I think once we got in the game, it was no doubt we was going to win. We were at home, and we didn't want to lose in the Orange Bowl. I think that's one of the things that the older guys instilled in us when I first came in. The seniors is that you don't lose at home. Like you protect your home turf. So for us playing in the Orange Bowl, the speed factor we had against Nebraska, I think it was a no-brainer that we were going to win that game, and we ended up pulling it off and claiming the national championship.
Yeah, Kevin Williams, he scored on a 8 yard touchdown pass. He only scored one touchdown. Um, Defense was incredible. Holding Nebraska to 82 yards rushing. And the thing about this game is that it was Nebraska's fifth bowl loss in a row, and it was his first shutout in any game since 1973. It's 220 games ago at that time, and it was the 45th consecutive win in the Orange Bowl. So they actually also counted the home wins, including the bowl games. That was included in the winning streak that you had during that time. So now you're national champion for the second time. Now 92 rolls around. There was some, obviously unfortunate adversity, like Hurricane Andrew. Get ready for opponent in Iowa. Talk about beating Iowa 24-7, but get ready for them. Dealing with the Hurricane Andrew situation. Talk about that.
Now, Hurricane Andrew, man, was crazy. I remember me and Ryan McNeil and Daryl Spencer were college roommates the whole 5 years I was there. We had moved off campus and we had a townhouse. And I remember the hurricane was coming, and we were prepared, but we didn't really think a whole lot of it. I remember Michael Barrett actually came over and stayed with us before the hurricane was going to hit. And then we were just sitting in our townhouse, and all of a sudden we heard a zzz, and all the lights went out, and we heard the wind picking up, and so it was quite a challenge. I remember Michael Barrow leaving right after the hurricane because he couldn't get in touch with his mom. And we're like, man, you can't go out there. Like, traffic's light down, power light is not good. He's like, no, I need to go find my mom. So he left, and thank goodness he ended up finding his family safe and secure. But then we had to kind of make adjustments. I think we ended up picking up and leaving, and we ended up practicing some other place. I forget where we went to practice, but it was quite a challenge to getting ready for the first game of the season and going to Iowa, which was a really tough place to play. But just the circumstances of people, especially from Miami, checking in on their family, make sure their family's straight, and still trying to concentrate on practice and getting ready for the season. It was a challenge, but I tell you what, when we went in there, I think it was a real gritty and tough effort. I know I had a great game. I think I had 100 yards receiving against Iowa. I ended up getting a game ball for that. So I think it showed the resilience that we had, the mental fortitude, the talent of just putting those distractions behind us and going to Iowa and beating them at home after we've gone through the hurricane and all the adversity we've gone through. So it was a really great start to the season. I know I had a really good game, and I was really proud of the way the guys responded after going through Hurricane Andrew.
Yeah, Jalen Terrell threw for 433 yards, um, two touchdowns, one to Kevin Williams, another touchdown to Dallas Spencer, and he won 24-7. The other game I want to get into was the Arizona game. That was a very low scoring game. You win 8-7. Unfortunately, that was a game Rusty Medeiros' career ended because he hurt his knee. You win 8-7. Talk about that game. And Arizona had a very good defense as well. But talk about eking out a win where Steve McLaughlin missed a 51-yard field goal. Talk about that.
Yeah, I don't remember details of that, but I remember we had some tough games that senior year, and we probably, after we gone through everything, we probably, we had one, we 11-0 and 91, and then we come back and we win our first few games. So I think mentally we probably just walked in a lot of those games thinking we could just roll the football out and win. So we probably wasn't prepared. I'm not taking anything away from Arizona, but we probably wasn't prepared to play like we should have been. But just being able to ink out a win, defense, held steady. Our defense was tremendous, and being able to win that 8-7 and probably is the spark we needed to get us going again our senior year and propelled us to where we needed to be, throughout the season. So that's the one of those close games again where if you're going to, win a national championship, you have to win those close games in order to get where you want to go. You can't blow everybody out because remember we're the king of the hill, and everybody's going to give us their best game. So we're like the Chicago Bulls in the 90s. When people come to play, you can't have a night off or a Saturday off because people are going to give you their best shot because you the Miami Hurricanes. So they come in amped up, and we might have took them lightly, but good thing we eked out a win and we're able to, continue our undefeated season.
Yeah, the following week you played obviously Florida State again. You win 19-16, wide right for two. The thing about this game, you scored a touchdown. It was on a like a fake reverse,
Yeah.
and it caught the defense off guard. You was wide open, went into the end zone to put yourself up 10-7. Win 19-16, wide right again. Talk about that win against Florida State.
No, that was a great game. It was hype. It was in the OB. We had beat them last year, so they were coming in prepared. Again, I don't think we played our greatest game offensively. We struggled a little bit, and that's a lot of it's because Florida State defense. I mean, they had some really tough guys on defense, All Americans, and the cream of the crop, the top guys in the state. So yeah, I remember it was kind of like a bootleg. Gino faked it. He rolled out and he threw a perfect ball and hit me in stride. I was able to catch it and I walked in the end zone untouched. And it was great to kind of get us going on that, scoring that touchdown. And then we kind of struggled for the rest of the game. But I remember at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, it was third down and we really needed a first, and they call a little option route for me in the fourth quarter. And every time I see Derrick Brooks, I tease him about that because he was guarding me. And I ended up getting the first, catching and getting the first down and moving the chains. And I think that's really helped us. I think we went down and kicked the field goal on that drive to make it 19-16. And then they was driving. Only thing about that game is you wasn't as nervous with that game because a field goal would tie it and send it to overtime and not win it like last year, like 91. So, I mean, the gods were on our side. They have 2 years in a row of wide right. I mean, you can you can't envision that. But that was really a great game. We struggled a little bit offensively, but for me to catch a touchdown and then in the fourth quarter to catch that third down and keep the chains moving and keep the clock running, I think was huge. It was almost as big as that catch I had the previous year because I think if we didn't get that first, they get the ball back, and then you never know what happens. It might be a different story. So that was a pretty good game for them.
Yeah, and the thing about the Florida State Miami matchups is always like Florida State always had a lead before Coach always came through. And this is the same scenario. They had a 13-10 lead entering the fourth quarter. They had a 16-10 lead with 9 minutes left. James Rudd throws on a blitz, 33 yards to Lamar Thomas for a
Yep.
touchdown. Also, Corey Sawyer made a bad mistake. He mistakenly drifted into his own end zone on a punt return. He panicked. He flicked the legal forward pass, and that led to the 19-16 lead because it was a safety. That could have been a touchdown possibly, but it was safety, and they was
Yeah.
able to still drive the ball into deep in your territory. And Dan Murray misses a game tying 39-yard field goal to win that game. It didn't get any easier because you go up to Penn State and you win 17-14. Had trouble, with running game. He was ranked 106 in the nation, but you win 17-14 because blitz from Jesse Armstead forced the interception during Ryan's goals, 28 yards for a touchdown. You win that game in Penn State 17-14. Talk about that game.
Yeah, I mean to come out off of Florida State and then have to go to Penn State was, I mean that's quite of a road game. And I remember Penn State always had some great linebackers. And again, offensively, I don't think we played our best, but we were able to, eke out enough points in order to get the win. That's always a hostile environment to play Penn State. So it was good, and like I said, we found a way to win, kind of eke it out. Our defense was lights out all year, except for the championship game. But all year in the regular season, man, our defense was unbelievable. In a lot of games, they carried us and kept us in it in order to, give us an opportunity to kind of catch up because we had some up and down games. So it was good to finally, eke out that win and keep our undefeated streak going.
Okay, so let's fast forward to the Syracuse game and the Carrier Dome. You win 16-10. That was another close one. I'll talk about that game.
Yeah, that was a tough environment also, and we probably again didn't play our best game. We kind of eked it out. Probably came in a little underrated, but I remember that place was packed, and they were ready for us, and they played a good game, and we end up eking it out. So I don't remember the details of it. That was a long time ago, but it was a good win and kept us going in the right direction of being undefeated.
Yeah, one sack pad, one half sacks. Came down to the wire. Chris Getney was talking about defensive back, Casey Greer after making a catch from 29 yards. Clock ran out, so it was a very tough, hard-nosed game, and he was able to win. The thing about it, your team, was up 16 nothing. Larry Jones scored a touchdown. Dane Pruitt kicked the field goal, so he was in control, but they started to get back into the game, led by Marvin Graves. That was a very talented team. team. Quadri Ishmael, was on that team, but she was able to hold on. So now let's fast forward to the national championship game. 29-game winning streak.
I think that year we played Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech too, didn't we?
Yeah,
I think.
that was early in the season. We beat
Yeah.
Virginia Tech 43
I,
23.
that game I remember
Okay.
because that game, the atmosphere of that game was unlike any other game I think I played in those 2 years. I mean, Virginia Tech was, every seat was full. It was a raucous crowd. And the reason I bring that game up is because, like, it showed the epitome of Miami Hurricane football. Like, the place packed, is rocking. Like, they wanted us really bad. And then we get a lead. We maintain that lead. We come out the first drive in the second half. And I remember Coach Erickson tells us, we go down and score, I'm taking you guys out. And I remember it was like, it was had to be like third and 25 or 30, and he called an all go, and Gino hit me up the seam of that play, and we ended up getting the first. We ended up scoring, and then he took the starters out. So like midway through the third and all through the fourth, like we're on the sideline, we showed the pass off and hat on. And I just remember looking at the crowd and like see the disappointment. Like they were gun ho and like this was the biggest game they had in a long time, and we just came in there and do what Miami Hurricanes do. We just came and shut down the building and shut down the crowd. And I remember just leaving that stadium thinking, that's what we do. That's what Hurricanes do. We go in and we take over other people's stadiums and shut them out. And that was really a big win. I remember that game vividly, just because the crowd, and I think it was standing room only, and that was a heck of a win for us.
Okay, let's get into the national championship game. Obviously, this is your final game as a senior. You had a chance to win your fifth title as a program in 10 years at that time. 29-game winning streak against the Alabama team. You had a great defense, but obviously things didn't go right. You lose 34-13. But going to that game, preparing for that game, talk about that, and unfortunately losing the game. Talk about that.
Yeah, I think, man, as you grow in life, you have bumps in the road, and you look back on it, and you wish you could have done things different. I think our preparation was off. We just didn't take it serious. It was New Orleans. It was Bourbon Street. We were partying. I had a friend of mine that I played high school with, who was my high school quarterback and wide receiver. And he was playing for the Saints at the time. And so he would come get me, and we would hang out, and a lot of other guys were hanging out. We just didn't take Alabama serious. Like you said, we had won 20-some straight games. We thought we could just show up and win. And so I think going into the game, our preparation was off. We had some internal discord within the team going into that game. And I just don't think we were mentally prepared to play that game. And I think it showed. I think it really did. It showed. Those boys were hungry. And, man, they punched us in the mouth. And usually when somebody punches in the mouth, we can punch back. And that game, we just didn't have it. And unfortunately, you don't get a redo. I think if we play them, 10 times, we'll beat them 9 out of 10. If we, play them 3 times, we'll beat them 2 out of 3. But unfortunately, it's just one game, and we just couldn't get it going, either offensive or defense. That's the first game, really, in my 2 years of starting where I saw our defense get pushed around. I mean, them boys, Lassick, they were running that ball, and then offensively, we just couldn't buy Gino any time. And I remember going into halftime, Coach Erickson came to me and he said, we're going to keep you in the block, see if we can give Gino more protection. And we started that and then kept me in the block, and that didn't work either. I think Gino threw an interception, and then he threw it to Lamar. Lamar was going, and T chased him down and took the ball. So, sometimes in sports, man, it's just not your day. And I think that day was just not our day. And but I think it all started with our preparation. We just mentally wasn't prepared to play, and we thought we could just show up and win. And they were a better team that day. But I think if we had a do-over and we could play them again, no doubt we'll win that game. And that's one of the things in my career in college and pros. that I look back and regret because man, we had a chance to go back to back, and not too many teams do that in college sports or professional sports. And for us to squander that opportunity, man, really hurts to this day. And that's what 30 years later. It really hurts that we didn't prepare like we should have and take that game serious and finish off that impressive run we had. So um, it's one of the things we look back on and say, I wish we could have done it different, but a lot of times in sports you don't get a second chance. But I give them credit. We just weren't ready to play, and they put a good whipping on us.
Yeah, Derek Lassie ran for 143 yards on
Yeah,
28 carries, and yeah, they were definitely physical. George T. That's a game I remember, man. Like that was a George T. game because he took the ball away from Lamar Thomas. Like he was going to score a touchdown, and intercepts a pass, goes in for a touchdown, 31 yards, high stepping in the end zone, and they had a great defense. John Copeland, Eric Kirby,
yeah,
Antonio Langley, Lemansky Hall, uh, Tommy Johnson. It was really good on the defensive side. So you lose that game, and now you go into the pros. You play with the Miami Dolphins. So talk about that experience playing with the Dolphins. You only played 1 year, but he was undrafted, but unfortunately, but talk about that experience with the Dolphins.
yeah. I was undrafted free agent. I got signed by the Dolphins, and that's when Schuler was still there, and they had Marino, they had the Marx brothers, Duper and Clayton, and so I went into camp with them. Probably was like a fish out of water. Didn't really have an opportunity to make the team. Probably more was a practice dummy, but it was a good experience. I mean, anytime you can say that you were in camp or caught passes, even warm ups from Dan Marino is pretty special. And the Marx brothers and the Hall of Fame coach like Don Shula. So it was a good experience to kind of open my eyes to the reality of the NFL. Like it's totally different than college. And so interesting, I got cut from the Dolphins and I'm on my way home to Tampa, not knowing what I wanted to do. And my agent calls me and says the Dallas Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson wants you in Dallas, and it's a plane ticket waiting for you at the airport. So I'm like, man. So I get home, I pack my stuff, leave my car, go jump on a plane, and then I go to Dallas, and I was on Dallas Cowboys practice squad for 2 years. First year under Jimmy Johnson, we won back-to-back Super Bowls, so I ended up getting a Super Bowl ring. Really a great experience to learn the NFL game. Learn from a Hall of Fame coach and be there with Michael Irvin and Troy and Emmett and the whole. I mean, we had so much talent. Learn from Jay Novacek. So it was a great opportunity for me. And then Jimmy left after my first year, like he did when I was in college, and he retired. And then Barry Switzer came in, and I held on for pretty much all the season um, with Dallas on the practice squad, and then Troy had got hurt, and then I think Rodney Peete got hurt, the backup quarterback, and they said they need to free up some money, and so they ended up releasing me. But it actually turned out to be a good thing um, because I ended up going to Washington for the last game of that year, and ended up signing back with them with Washington, and ended up having a good opportunity to be on the Redskins and get some substantial playing time and really learn the pro game and really develop myself in the NFL. So it actually worked out really good. And be under Norv Turner, who was offensive coordinator at Dallas when I was there, he brought me to Washington, and I ended up getting a lot of playing time in Washington. I ended up, I think, leading the tight ends and receptions. I was kind of like the third down, tight end. So I come in on third down and end up having some really good games. To score my first NFL touchdown that year at Denver. I remember that. Was it Denver, or Arizona? Maybe in Arizona. But I remember that, and so it was really a great opportunity. And the NFL is just a really tough business, but it was good. And then from there, I stayed that year. Then I came back the next year and end up getting released and end up being out for pretty much half the season that year. And then get a call from Seattle Seahawks that they wanted me to work out for them. End up working out for the Seahawks and getting signed for like the last 6 games of that following year. And that was Coach Erickson was the coach of Seattle Seahawks, and ended up staying there for half the season. So that was a good. It was a good time being in Seattle and playing under Coach Erickson again.
Okay, so let's fast forward to your your program that you played for with the University of Miami. Mary Cristobal, actually, was he your teammate coming in? Right, he was part of that '88 recruiting class. Okay, give your assessment of the Hurricanes of today. You know, they looking good on paper. You know, got strong coaching staff, Charlie Strong, Kevin Steele, guys like that. So, about your assessment of today's Hurricanes, you think they could get back to the top like you were when you was at Miami?
Yeah, we've fallen off in recent years, but I think Mario. Well, I know Mario was a good hire. Mario came in with us in '88, so Mario knows the Miami way. He knows what it takes at the UM to win. He's the right man for the job. I think he's going to do a fabulous job with the program. He's going to get us back where we need to go and bring that old swagger and the old U back. So I know they got the offensive coordinator from Michigan, and Michigan had a really good year last year. And then I heard the defensive coordinator is really good too, and they got a lot of great coaches. And in Florida, you got pretty much the best talent in the nation. So they're always going to be a hotbed for recruit. They put a lot of money in that program. I went back a couple of years ago, before COVID hit, and I just see the facility now compared to what we had. It's just, oh my goodness, totally different. They got these unbelievable meeting rooms with the stadium seating, and I mean the facilities are just unbelievable. But I think Mario do a great job. I mean, he did a great job at Oregon, and I think he'll do a great job bringing the program back where it needs to be. Back to those days when we were there, where we won 20 some straight, where we were winning national championship, where we were forced to be reckoned with. Because I mean, if you think about it now, the Miami name doesn't scare anybody anymore. And when we were there, people were afraid to play us. I know Florida was running from us when we were there. They didn't want to play us. And then when we started sliding down, yeah, they booked us, and they didn't know we were having a resurgence. So when we played them after they booked us, we whooped them. But everybody ran from us. People didn't want to play us. They made excuses. So hopefully he'll bring the program back